take us over to is our expense management portion. So I'm going to go ahead and get this sharing with everybody. Can we see my screen? Perfect. So going from the same website, we do have our control panel on the left-hand side. To get to the expense management portion where we're going to be able to set up the expense management for the company's cardholders, we are going to simply go to Company Management and then Expense Management. Now, from this screen, this is where we can set up the expense for the company's cardholders. Now, the people who have access to the business card management system are going to be the admins. For the actual cardholders, they're going to be able to view their card history through My Card Statement, which I think most of us are familiar with. That's currently what our cardholders have been able to use to access their statements. This is just simply us connecting the additional features to them to allow them to submit their reports. So from this page, you can see we've already got this enabled, but we have the Enable Expense Management and eZCard, which is going to connect them. We can set the statement cycle for importing transactions. We have a drop-down here to select that time range. And then we can also send reminder emails if there's no response within a certain amount of days. So we currently have this set to 3, but that can be changed. Now our next option down is receipt imaging settings. We are able to allow the cardholders to upload receipts with each of their reports. Most of the time we are going to require them, but different companies may choose to limit this feature. Here you can see our different options. This first option actually requires receipts for transactions over a specific dollar amount. So it's not going to require a receipt on everything, just whatever exceeds the amount that we input here. We can also do the mandatory receipts attachment. So no matter what the cost, they're going to have to submit a receipt with every expense. And then we also have an option for different expense categories. So if we have a company that wants to set up their expense categories for travel, for food, for hotels, anything like that, they can set up their different categories and require receipts based on those as well. So we currently have this set up to where for ours, we're going to have everybody submit receipts for all out-of-pocket transactions, so what they're paying for, not on the company card, as well as mileage transactions. Now our next section down covers the mileage for the out-of-pocket transactions that we have available. For our specific company, we're going to go ahead and have our mileage amount set to 65 cents per mile. Different companies are probably going to have different amounts that they allocate back, and this can be changed here as well. Now, once we have set up the expense management for the company's cardholders, the next thing we're going to do is actually go and look at our cardholder list. So from this same page, we're going to come up to the top right-hand corner and click this icon right here that looks like a person's head. That's our account list. And we can see our cardholder names here. We are going to continue picking on Tanya today. From here, we can emulate the user. So again, I mentioned earlier, the people who have access to this specific website we're looking at currently are just going to be the admins. The actual cardholders have a different website access. So this is going to allow us to emulate and see their side of things. So I'm going to simply go over here under Actions and emulate Tanya. And that is going to go ahead and populate what she sees in My Card Statement side of things. Now, to see her expense management function where she can submit transactions, mileage, all of her out-of-pocket expenses, she's going to have this control panel at top. So she can search her transactions. She can review her statement history, and then she can also review the expenses that she is working on or has submitted. So if we go to the far end under expenses, we're going to go through expense management. And our second option along the top here is her report history. So here we can see her list of everything that has been submitted to us. So team lunches, what they cost. You can see they all have her attachments for receipts on each of these transactions. You can also see which ones have already made it through final approval, which ones have been rejected, and which ones have been submitted but not approved or rejected just yet. Now, if Tanya decides she needs to make an edit, whereas she accidentally put $1 instead of $100, all she would simply do from her side is click an edit. While she has that on lock, myself as an administrator cannot go ahead and approve this transaction at the time. It will lock me out until she's finalized making those corrections here.
Haley,
the report history. Yes, go ahead.
One quick, how does Tanya attach her receipt to each transaction? Did she have a way to do that in my statement, my card statement?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
So let's go here.
So I was just wondering if they do that themselves, or they like submit their report to their administrator and then they do it. Can it be either way?
So from their side, from my card statement, they will actually submit those here. They can even do it from their cell phone. So if they're on their cell phone accessing my card statement, it will allow them the function to use their phone's camera to snap a picture of the receipt right then and there so that it uploads right away. They don't have to deal with pulling it in from a file that way either.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions on that?
I have so many questions.
Okay. Oh, well, we will let you ask them all.
Well, no, this is
again,
my first time viewing this, so it's like, oof, a new world.
It's a lot of information to take in. So again, we appreciate everybody's patience with us as we learn the system. When you're looking at it, there's some pretty straightforward options. But, there can be some deeper things that we could dig into. So we're definitely trying to make sure we cover all of our bases and make sure we are familiar that when questions do come up, we're not having to pause, go and find, and come back to the client. It's really what we're trying to avoid, which is why it's taken us a little bit longer to fully launch this to our clients than maybe formerly intended. So definitely a lot to explore, and as you have questions, they may be something that we have not yet been able to encounter, but that's something, that's one of the reasons we wanted to have this meeting today as well, so that you guys can help us kind of brainstorm what our clients may be asking during training, so we're prepared ahead of time. So awesome. Okay. Now this is, again, the cardholders side of things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hop back over to the admin side. And the next thing we want to do is look at how to approve a submitted expense report that our cardholder has put in. So we'll come back to the main eZBusiness page. Again, we're going to go ahead and navigate from the company management and under expense management. This time, instead of going to our account list, we're going to come to the top far right where it looks, it's got the dollar sign, and this is our expense report. We're going to go ahead and select here. And this is going to show all of the expenses that have been submitted to us. This is our testing account. We've played a lot with Tanya's card, so that's why you're seeing all Tanya here. You'll notice that we have a few that have gone through final approval. We've got one rejected and one that has been submitted and we still need to act on. So I'm going to use this one as our example today. Now, once we go here, you're going to hover over Tanya's name and come over to the action portion, and we are going to hit modify. Now, from here, it shows her breakdown. The category is recreation. She paid cash instead of using her card, and she had $1 expense. Now, this one does not have any receipt images attached to it, but if we are ready to go ahead and approve this expense, we will come to this top section, and you see here we've got reviewer notes. We're going to add new. Now, in order to either approve or reject, the admin does have to put notes in this section before it'll let them submit. So any notes before approving can just say, was notified of this ahead of time, approving for, this statement period, anything like that, or just a simple approve. And we'd come up down here to the bottom right and hit approve. Now, if we are going to approve a transaction, no further action is needed. However, if we are going to reject, we definitely want to put a description here because we want to let the cardholder know why we are rejecting it. Are we going to reject it because they didn't attach a receipt? Are we going to reject it because the amount that we're seeing is different than maybe what had been discussed here for us? Things of that nature. Once you hit reject, the cardholder is going to have to make changes from the My Card statement side. So they will get a notification on their end that the expense has been rejected. They'll be able to view the admin's notes on why, and they will then have to go in, lock, edit, and make those changes before resubmitting to the expense report. Does anybody have questions on this portion?
I have a question. Can we make receipts mandatory for any cash purchase, no matter what the amount is?
Yes. So from the first option that we had under expense management, you may remember that we could turn receipts on for varying reasons. So we could require it for any and all. We could set a minimum amount. Anything that exceeds that is when they have to submit a receipt. And then we actually have it right now for only out-of-pocket receipts. So this one should have a receipt attached to it. So this would be one of our rejects, and it would go back to the cardholder.
Perfect. That makes that's very good. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move us on to our last category that we wanted to review for today, and that is the expense management allocations. So that is who is going to review and make the approvals on these expenses. So we are once again going to navigate to our left-hand panel, company management, and this time instead of going to expense management, we're going to search our cardholder. We will continue picking on Tanya, and under her action items, we can see the eye icon. This is going to show her account details. And then under her name, we can see at the very bottom there's expense management allocations. I'm going to select that, and it populates this section down here where it will define her cost center, and then it will allow us to set a first and second level reviewer. So this means two of us have to go in dual control to approve that expense. Now, I currently have it set to where I will do the first level of reviewing, and then that will be followed up by Mustafa before we can go through and approve an expense. Mustafa, did you have anything to add on here?
I had a question, actually. So can it be that we can have two reviewers, one as a manager of that card holder, and the second one possibly an accounting person that can be?
Correct, correct. And now we can go under each cardholder and have different reviewers. So for example, if one of our admins is a cardholder, we don't want them to be able to review themselves. So in this scenario, that is why we would want to do this at each cardholder level instead of the whole company level. Tanya may be able to approve somebody else's, but obviously we don't want to set her as a reviewer on her own expenses.
Definitely not. All right, perfect. Thank you.
By the way, that's how
Right.
that $1,000 luncheon got approved. So, mistaken.
That was all you, huh?
Did you take the hint? Perfect.
Well, awesome. You guys, this covers kind of pretty much what we wanted to give you a brief demo of today, just so you could kind of start getting familiar with the system and what we are working through right now.